How's it going, everybody? This is Darrin with GuitarControl.com bringing this video lesson. And today I've got kind of a part 2 or an update or whatever to one that I did a couple of weeks back. So if some of this seems familiar to you, that is why, and I'll explain my reasoning. So right now Guitar Control is giving away this really awesome daily practice routine to improve your lead guitar chops. This was put together by our very own Silvio Gazquez, a two-time Guitar Idol finalist. This routine covers the 4 main concepts that are necessary for lead guitar: alternate picking, legato, sweep picking, and tapping. All the tabs and exercises are all included in this free ebook. There's a link in the description where you can get yours. So be sure to click on the link in the description for the tabs, and let's get close up and take a look at these. All right, so if you recall, we've been doing these lessons on pentatonic sequences, and I did this one that it climbed up through positions and stuff, and I had some feedback on it. People were saying that some of the notes I was playing was actually outside of the pentatonic scale, which is actually true. All right, so I'm going to show you this version of it that the notes I'll be playing will actually be the correct ones from the scale, and I'll show you where the ones I changed and give my reasoning why. And then the other thing for this is that some people wanted some more ideas of how to combine these two concepts together. All right, so the basic concept, and like I said, this is what we did on the other one, is that we have this sequence that's it starts on the B string. And then there's another version of it that starts on the high E string. So if you put those two together, it sounds pretty cool. And so that's the thing we went over in the last one, and then we worked our way up. So I have 2 versions of this on here. I've got it going through all the positions with the one that starts on the B string, and then I have it again where it starts on the E string. And I'm going to show you how you can take the 2 ideas and mix them together. It'll make more sense when we actually look at it. So starting here, I'm on the 8th fret of the B string with my 4th finger, and sometimes I'll use my 3rd finger, whatever's more comfortable for you. And then on the 5th fret of the B string with my 1st finger. So we're going to pick that 8, pull to 5, and hammer to 8. So this is all triplets. Triplet. And then we go to the 5th fret of the high E string, back to the 8 on the B string, and back to the 5 on the high E. So triplet, triplet. So that's like the first 2 beats. Now we're going to go to the 8th fret on the high E, and we're going to pick that and pull to 8. Or excuse me, we're going to pick 8 and pull to 5. And then go back to the 8th fret on the B string. So that's beat 3. And then for beat 4, we go back to 5 on the high E. And then we go to the B and pull 8 to 5. So this is, again, we're doing the riff where we're starting on the B string. So each measure, it's going to shift up position. So that's our first measure. Okay, now we're just going to shift up. So our first note is going to be the note we left off on. So we're going to go 8 and then 10. And it's going to be 8, 10 on the B and the high E string. But we're going to do that same pattern. So we're going to go 10, pull to 8, hammer to 10. And then to 8 on the high E, back to 10 on the B, and back to that 8. Now, starting on beat 3, we're going to pick 10, pull to 8 on the high E string, to the 10th fret of the B string, and then back to the 8th fret of the high E, and then 10, pull to 8 on the B string. Okay. So now is where we're going to shift up again, and this is where the change is going to be from the previous pattern. So now our first note on the B string is the 10th fret, but we're going to go a step and a half to the 13th fret. So same timing, 13, pull to 10, hammer to 13. And now we're going to go to the 10th fret on the high E string, and then back to the 13th fret of the B string, and then back to 10 on the high E. So triplet, triplet. Okay, now when we do the descending part, starting on beat 3, the first note on the high E is 10, but the next note is actually going to be 12, so it's just a whole step. So we're going to go 12 pull to 10, to 13 on the B string, back to 10 on the high E, and then back to 13 pull to 10 on the B string. So. All right, so now we move up into the fourth measure. So we're going to shift up, and now our first note on the B string is 13, and the second note is 15. So 15, pull to 13, hammer to 15, and then we're going to go now to the 12th fret on the high E, and then back to 15 on the B, back to 12 on the high E. Now 15, so starting on beat 3, 15, pull to 12 on the high E, to 15 on the B string, back to 12 on the high E, and then 15, pull to 13 on the B string, and then back to 15. You throw a bend or just slide up to from 15 to 17. So this one's a little bit more difficult because you can't just keep your first finger planted. You have to move it back and forth this half step. So that is the reason one of the reasons why I changed it from just being a step and a half, whole step, whole step, whole step, whole step, step and a half, step and a half. Now, by doing that, what happens is we put a B in there, which is not part of A minor pentatonic, because B is the second. But in this case, it's like we're doing a minor pentatonic with adding the 9 in there, because 9 is the same as 2, it's just an octave higher. So we could call it that. It makes it easier to play, for one, obviously, because you're not having to shift your finger back and forth. But the other thing is that I just personally really like the way that it sounds, and I like having those, putting in those extra notes, those passing tones, just to make it sound more interesting, but that's just me. So my recommendation would be to actually practice it both ways. All right, so then the other thing I wanted to show you with this is it's the same idea, but instead of starting... All right, so we're going to start with the descending part of it first. So we're going to start, first finger's on the 5th fret of the high E, and the 4th finger is on the 8th fret of the high E string as well. Pick 8, pull to 5, and then go to the 8th fret on the B string. So again, this is triplets. It's the same timing. We're doing the same stuff, we're just doing it backwards, kind of. Now we're going to go back to the 5th fret on the high E string, and then 8, pull to 5 on the B string. Now, starting on beat 3, we're going to 8, pull to 5, hammer back to 8 on the B string. Now to the 5th fret of the high E, back to the 8th fret of the B, and back to the 5th fret of the high E, and that's the pattern. So we're going to move, do the same thing. We're going to move it up through the positions. So now it'll be 8 and 10. Then we're going to move it up again. So now it's going to be 10 and 13 on the B string, but 10 and 12 on the high E. Now we're going to move it up again. So now on the high E string, it's going to be 15 and 12. And then it's going to be 15 and 13 on the B string. So this is the hardest position to do that in my opinion. It's much easier. Even though we're adding in that note that's not part of the scale, it's still in the key of A minor, so it still sounds good. Okay, and then the last idea with this is that as we move up in the positions, a cool thing you can do is change how you're playing it. So if we started with the descending one in the first position, now we move to the next position and we start on the ascending. So now we're going to shift up again, and now we'll start with the descending, and then we'll shift up to the last position. We'll start with the ascending. Now you could also do it the other way around. We could start with the ascending and then go to the descending on the second position. Now the ascending part again. And then finally the descending. Any kind of combination like that. So we have the first one. We're going to skip the second position and go to the third. So. Then we could come back and go to the last one. Any combination like that you like, it could be like a cool way you could kind of do it to follow like a chord progression. There's just lots of neat things that you could do with this. All right, so there you have it. Like I said, kind of a continuation, an amendment, so to say, of a previous lesson that I did on these repeating pentatonic sequences. So if you like this lesson, be sure to give me a thumbs up and leave a comment down below if you have any questions about this or other guitar-related topics. If you've not already done so, please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the content that we upload throughout the week. Well, that is all I have for you today. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.